All right.
We are live. Welcome to this week's episode of the RDU Buzz, where we go over all things Raleigh-Durham and things happening in the area, things coming, all the news and development. Zach's going to say he can't hear me.
I can't hear you.
I can hear me, though.
Okay.
So it's always his headphones. They're probably not plugged in, right? But we are here. I'm so distracted now. But yes, as we're talking tonight, if you are catching this live or on the replay, we'd love to have you let us know if you're on YouTube, the comments of where you're from. And if you have questions about the triangle, relocation, any questions you have in general, feel free to put them in there and we'll be sure to get them answered, even if they don't pertain to tonight's topics.
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight we are going to dig into some August data numbers. August data came out this week. So we're going to dig into those, take a look at what's happened in the market in August, and then talk a little bit about kind of what we think the rest of the fall will look like. And then we're going to talk about some local news. So digging right into the local market, I'm going to share my screen here. All right, there we go. So inventory, the biggest things I look for when I look at local data when it first comes out, what does inventory look like?
Right.
And we can look at that in two different ways. One is homes for sale, and then one is months supply of inventory. So we'll look at both of those. And then just kind of look at the trends overall that we're seeing take shape. So if you look at inventory on the market right now, and I'm going to try to see if I can zoom in a little bit here. So inventory in August is up 13.5% compared to what it was last year this same time. And this is a trend that we've really seen, I'd say most of the year, inventory being up slightly.
Yeah.
Starting kind of in May was when it was kind of this double digit increase. But this is a trend that we've been seeing for a while. Inventory is increasing on a double-digit level compared to what we saw last year. However, there is kind of a catch to that. And if I pull this chart out, so right now we're looking at 3 years worth of data. If I pull this out and look at 5 years worth of data, and we go to August of 2019, so we're talking pre-pandemic market now. There were 10,900 homes for sale in August of 2019. In August of 2024, we're at 8,143 homes. So pretty big difference.
Yeah, definitely. Still not really close to the same numbers, but we're better than last year, but we're still definitely below those pre-pandemic averages and normals. And it's kind of funny because I had my license in 2019, and I feel like the market was already kind of competitive even back then. It totally different in the way it is now, but
it is interesting. So when I remember putting in offers back in 2019, and it was competitive, but it wasn't competitive like today.
Right.
So, but it was still multiple offers.
Yeah, still multiple offers, but it would be like 5,000 over or something like that, not like how it was during the pandemic. But it is interesting to see. And we just have such an influx of people that have moved here since the pandemic to, like, either for new jobs that have opened up that are local, or a lot of just remote work that has moved this way, that the pandemic just caused permanent remote work positions for a lot of people. So definitely seeing that increase in population.
Yeah. And what's interesting about the 8,100 homes for sale and that increase is we're above where we were at the peak of last year. So inventory hit its peak last year in October. And we've already crested that peak. So we're above the highest month last year. And that's kind of been the trend this year. Inventory's been better than it was last year, but still well below for our area norm, like historical norms. And that's not the case with everywhere in the country. There's places like Florida and Texas that are now above pre-pandemic levels of inventory, and we're not at that point.
Yeah, definitely not. It's still technically, a seller's market, but with these numbers of inventory increasing, we definitely see a lot more buyer friendliness as far as, exact, I guess you could pull the percent of list price received, but we're seeing most things going about 2.5% under the listed price is kind of the general average. So some homes are still really competitive and some are not. So, we see that. Whereas like, a year or two ago, it would have been like 100% of the list price was received. And this is triangle wide. So this is not
so it's going to be
just
different.
Raleigh.
Yeah, it's going to be different in different areas. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the number Cindy's talking about here, 97.7% of list price received. So in other words, buyers are getting the home for about 2.5% less than what it's listed for in general in the triangle. So, if you pull out, like, let's look at Cary, for example. Cary is a little more competitive than the average triangle. So Cary, folks are getting it for about 1.5% less as opposed to 2.5% less. If you put in a Chapel Hill, I bet Chapel Hill is competitive as well. Chapel Hill's right in line with Cary at 98.3%. So there's markets here that are more competitive than the average, but the average is about 2.5% less than list prices is kind of what we're seeing.
Yeah, for sure.
Original list price. I think I should clarify that.
Yeah. Right.
Days on market. Actually, no. So months supply. That's what I meant to click on. So months supply is another level for inventory where you're essentially looking. It's factoring in demand, though, right? So you're taking demand and you're factoring that into, how long would it take for every single home on the market to sell? We're still in a seller's market. 2.7 months is still well within a seller's market. But if you look at this graph here, last year in October, which was when we hit our inventory peak last year, was 2.7. So we're kind of right in line with where we were last year. And then we didn't see levels that high until we were in 2022, same October, November. And this was right when rates skyrocketed. I mean, this was the season when rates went from like 2% in February to like, I don't know, whatever they were, whatever they were that the rest of the year, but it was basically just a skyrocket up.
I remember clearly because we moved. And so I remember our interest rate when we were moving, just like when we were looking at homes, it was like, oh, it's going to be 5. And then it was like, oh, it's going to be 6. And then they just kept going.
Yeah, but we were fortunate enough to be able to get a VA loan. And so our rate was far better than what the conventional rate was. Yeah. But all in all, August is, I think, pointing to a market that's been pretty similar to what we've seen for the rest of this year, which is a market of higher levels of inventory than we had last year, still lower than historical norms, and a market that in general has been a little more favorable to buyers.
Yeah, more favorable than it was, not more favorable than it is to sellers per se. But I think it's kind of good it's still good for both sides. It's not like a terrible time to be a seller. For most people, you're still gonna sell your house relatively quick, but it's not necessarily like how it was in 2022 or even in the spring of this year where things were all flying off really quickly.
Yeah.
And we're just moving in also to a seasonality of, everybody's back at school now. Now people are kind of honing in, getting ready for the holidays. So, things are always a little busier in the spring.
Yeah, exactly. And I wanted to pull up sales price because I think it's important to also look at that. So this is like a rolling 12-month average. And what you see is, even though this is a more friendly market for buyers, you're still seeing in our area currently price appreciation.
Yeah.
So market wide, 3% price growth is what we've seen from August to
last
August.
Year to this year.
Yeah. Cary, 7% price growth, which just shows how competitive Cary is. When we talk to folks about the area, we always talk about how competitive markets like Cary are, and this is living proof of that. It's more than double the average in terms of appreciation.
Pull Raleigh up as well, just to give another.
Raleigh's so big though that you almost have to split it up into zip codes to get like a good picture of it. But Raleigh's 7% too. It's really fascinating.
Yeah,
so, and this is average. If you go to median, it kind of levels it out. So median price growth in the region has been 0, like the entire region. So we've been pretty steady. Cary's 5, Chapel Hill's 1.6, and Raleigh's 4.7. So it's a little more muted with median. That's probably that's the median's the more accurate
a better picture
representation,
for the most part
of the market.
Earl said, "Good evening from Wendell Falls. Thanks for joining in this week, Earl.
Thanks for tuning in, Earl. Yeah, appreciate you joining.
Yeah, we saw, I think 2 weeks ago, you guys got a new Chipotle that opened over at Wendell Falls.
Yeah.
That was brand new, just like opening a couple weeks ago. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But that's the market update for August. Projections for the rest of the year, I think, and we kind of hashed a little bit of this out last week, so I won't go into it too much. But I think the rest of the year will be kind of similar to what we're seeing now. I don't think a Fed rate drop is going to impact the market much this year. I do think it could impact the market significantly next year.
Yeah, after the holidays wrap up.
I just don't think it's going to
2025,
I don't think the Fed's going to come out in September and cut their rate. I don't think you'll see interest or mortgage rates drop significantly from that. I think they've already kind of baked that in. But two, I just think it's going to take time for that to kind of play out in the market. And I think it won't be until next year. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that.
And James watching from Dallas, Texas. Thank you for watching, James.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Earl said he's still on the hunt for a townhome and starting to look in Clayton too. We like Clayton. Clayton's really nice.
Yeah, Clayton is definitely nice. So, all right, moving on to, some local news. I had to take my headphones off because it was weird. The noise
our kids play with this equipment all the time. They'll like sneak in here and be talking, so we never know what condition it's going to be in.
I am fortunate to get this stuff working every single week when we turn it on, honestly.
Yeah,
there's no
like,
telling.
Where are they? And they're in here, and it's actually really cute because they think it's like a phone and that everybody can hear them. So they'll just be like, "Hello, can anyone hear me?" And we're like, "No one. It's not turned on. No one can hear you."
Yeah. So I thought this was pretty interesting news because we talked to a lot of folks about schools, because obviously for folks who are looking to move into the area or who are looking to move from one part of the triangle to another part of the triangle, whatever it is, schools typically play a big part in that.
Yeah, it's a huge part of a decision when you're moving with kids.
And if you do have a lot of questions on schools, we give like a 30,000 foot view on schools, but we do have a school consultant that we typically refer folks out to for like the more ground level questions. But I saw this article. I thought it was really cool. So this Pine Springs Preparatory Academy, which is a charter school in Holly Springs, acquired some land to build a high school that's going to focus on essentially biotech, which I think is really neat. And what's even more interesting, where is it on here? Here it is. They said the ultimate hope is that students at the high school would be able to get their biomed certificate from Wake Tech during their final 2 years of school, and then potentially be able to start working for one of the life science companies in the area. So
I love that.
I think it's amazing.
I think
it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, because I think there's going to be, and we talk about it a lot because our kids are young, but we think about like people our generation, where college was very much like, you have to go to a university, you have to go to university, you have to. And now it's like everybody our age just is like filled with student debt and they don't really have a job that is really worthy of a college degree or a university degree at least, or it's not even in the field. So the thought of like getting this whole certificate before when you're not even 18 yet, and then getting a legitimate job in a life science company in the area, that's an awesome really cool start to adulthood, you know, and like just such a great experience. Not trying to diminish that college is a bad experience. It's not. It's just I love this idea for kids that are interested in that, because then if they really are, they could continue. They could work there for a year or something, or simultaneously while maybe doing some online classes to get like a 4-year biotech type degree and like further that education and know that they're actually interested in it. So that's really cool.
No, I think it's amazing. And if you got that biomed certificate, I'm sure like if you wanted to go to a 4-year university and kind of extend that education. I'm assuming.
You might could cut at least a year off.
Yeah, that you could probably cut some time off of that,
I don't
which
know
cuts
if
some of
that,
the costs off of it.
right.
I'm just making that assumption,
Yeah,
but
possibly. Yeah, I don't know if it's
regardless,
like an
the fact that
associate's.
you're getting that training in high school to then be able to immediately come out and probably have a really good job at a local company.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of biotech companies in our region. I mean, that's one of like the, I guess, the sectors of like our economy that's really strong here.
Right.
And
growing in Holly Springs.
Yeah,
there's
and
a
growing.
Lot out
With
going.
Fujifilm,
so I think it's a great
which
location.
apparently
Yes, we learned
makes film and does
other biotech actual, but not just cameras.
Yeah.
we learned something new about that.
We did. Someone on our on the YouTube page commented, and those really,
because there's a big Fujifilm thing happening in Holly Springs right now, and we were like, interesting. Are they gonna like make a camera? We were not really sure, and we were corrected. So thank you to whoever that was.
Yeah.
But
this school is going to be almost 15 acres. And it looks like the school is eyeing a potential open date of fall of 2026. I mean, that's fast.
That's really
it's
fast.
Fall of 2024 now. That's 2 years from now.
That's really fast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. But anyway, I think this is really cool for those folks who are, schools are a priority. Like, this is really neat.
Yeah, and it's a charter school, but that's public. So, you don't have to live in Holly Springs to attend.
So many people are going to apply to this place.
Yeah, it'll be really cool to see. I feel like, if you lived in Cary or Apex, like another surrounding, something that's like reasonable distance to Holly Springs, like you could also apply. As long as you live in North Carolina, you can apply to any charter school. So it's just a lottery. So I think that's great. I love that it has because there's a lot of charters, but not all of them have
a focus like this.
They might say their focus is STEM or their focus is this, but I feel like in high school it should really be ultra focused, like in the arts or in something. So I think this is great, and to get on the ground experience, there's just nothing, you can't beat that. Like that's amazing.
It is. So we've got Need Help joining in from Lillington. Thanks for joining in. We've got Crystal joining in from Raleigh. Thanks for tuning in.
Watching, Crystal.
And we've got Sarah tuning in from Mebane. Thank y'all for tuning in. And Need Help made a comment on the Biotech, said, wow, that's amazing. It is. And Earl said, what's the latest on 540? So I know there was an update rolled out today, and I saw an article and I didn't click on it.
Womp womp.
So
behind. Bad reporting, Zach.
I'll dig that up here in a second while Cindy can talk about something, and I'll dig that up.
Yeah.
But so a couple weeks ago, we talked about Fullsteam, which is a brewery in Durham, and they essentially, due to cost of rent and needing to expand out, decided to shut that location down, which was really sad because it was really like one of the first. They're an anchor point, I feel like. In Durham,
like when downtown Durham really started its renaissance. I'm going to call it its renaissance about 10, 15 years ago. They were one of the first big breweries. And now I feel like breweries just in general were popping up everywhere across the country at that point in time. It was like the trendy thing, but it was really the first one in, one of the first in Durham. And it was just a big anchor point. Like they had, Durham Run Club met there every week. And, it was just a place to be. And it was like, I don't know, it was really nice. And the area around it really became a highly sought after area for like other commercial space and real estate development, apartments and things. And it's like, it looks totally different there than it did when Fullsteam initially went into that spot. But they released some news and it was like sad. It's like, we're going to close
downtown
it.
Durham.
So we thought, are they even going to be in Durham? Is it going to move to like Raleigh? And they announced yesterday that it's going to be in Durham. And not only that, it's going to stay downtown, but move to the American Tobacco campus, which really I think is a great location. Yeah. I love walking around the American Tobacco campus. So I'm glad they're going to put something there. It needs something like that at American Tobacco. It does.
Yeah, that's one thing. So those of you who don't know where the American Tobacco campus is, so in downtown Durham, it's just a section that's near the Durham Bulls baseball field. And so it's like Durham Bulls baseball field, the Durham Performing Arts Center, so the DPAC, and then you have the American Tobacco location there. And it's a really cool place. I think one thing it's lacked is kind of this, I don't know what to call it, like almost like energy, like kinetic energy of like people being around. Like it's not always crowded. Sometimes you go and it's like really empty.
Yeah.
So I
Especially if
think
it's
to
not like
Cindy's,
lunchtime,
yeah,
if
I
it's
think to,
a
and
weekday or
I
something.
think they're making good efforts to change that. They've brought in some different like restaurants and whatnot that are kind of helping change some of that.
Yeah. But we used to have a sports bar there called Tyler's Tap Room. And I feel like that there was always a wait and there was always crowded and people kind of mingling outside waiting for their tables. And it closed. And I feel like, a really cute little spot went in there called Parker and Otis, which is like a gift shop and sandwich shop, but it's just not quite you wouldn't meet someone for dinner per se at Parker and Otis the way you would have at Tyler's Tap Room. So getting a brewery in there where it's just more casual, people meet up, they linger more, I think will be really great, especially with the Durham Bulls being right there. Like that's really fun to like do that and then head over to a Bulls game or something like that.
It is, yeah. I mean, this is gonna make a big impact on that area.
Yeah,
it'll
for sure.
it'll make it a lot more crowded, like in a good way.
Yeah,
in a good
not
way.
overcrowded.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
I think it'll be great.
Yeah, I agree. So I was really happy to see that. Earl, I was looking to see. Oh, here we go. I found it. New date set for opening of 540.
September 25th.
Yep, now scheduled to open at 6 a.m. Wednesday, September 25th. I'm sorry, September 25th.
It's a weird
it says
time
a ribbon
to
cutting ceremony will take place the day before. I
I'm
don't think
glad-
it's that weird because I mean that's pretty.
Well,
like,
I guess that's like commute time.
Yeah, that's like commute time.
Yeah, that's true.
6 a.m.
I'm glad the ribbon cutting ceremony is not at 5 a.m. right before.
Yeah, the ribbon cutting. Yeah.
It'll be
So September 25th is the date that it's gonna open. So originally,
that
I think
delay wasn't too bad.
It's like a month.
Yeah, it's not like crazy.
Because it was gonna be prior to Labor Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, September 25th. So that's awesome. All right. Let's see. Also, this is an interesting topic. So I don't know when it was, but we covered a huge study essentially on like from the Raleigh Downtown Alliance on changes that they were proposing for downtown Raleigh or suggesting for downtown Raleigh. And some of those revolved around connecting downtown Raleigh with Dix Park. So Dix Park is this huge park south of downtown.
Mhm.
And that was recently pitched again to different, I guess, important people and part of the downtown Raleigh revitalization efforts. But I wanted to circle back to this because I think it's really neat. So their pitch was essentially a bridge connecting Dix Park to downtown Raleigh. Or my favorite is an aerial tram, which I take that as like a Skyliner or something like that. I mean, I don't know what an
I think
aerial
a monorail.
A monorail. What? No, that's a train. No,
Well,
it would be like a gondola system.
Okay, well, a tram. I think of a train when I hear the word tram.
A monorail.
Put your votes
it's not
in.
it's not a monorail. No, it would be like a gondola style system connecting Dix Park into downtown Raleigh. And we've actually talked about this before because I think it was the previous mayor of Raleigh had mentioned how this is something that she would like to see come to fruition. I would love that.
It would be pretty cool.
I would love that because in one of our recent videos we talked. I think we talked about this in several of our videos, but I feel like Raleigh somewhat struggles with like an identity, so to speak. Like you look at some of the other cities in the country and kind of pinpoint, okay, like their identity is this, their identity is that. I feel like Raleigh kind of struggles with that. And I think, an aerial tram isn't going to fix that, but it's something unique.
I'm going to travel across the country so I can ride on the ski lift.
It's something unique, and that uniqueness helps then kind of build that.
That's just a fun, like I can imagine, date night kind of thing.
Yeah,
like we're going to
we're
walk at Dix Park and then go eat downtown and take the whatever we're gonna call this thing, the gondola. But we'll see what you're gonna be apologizing in a few years when we're riding the monorail over.
Yeah, but I like to kind of create that identity. Like you need unique stuff like that. Like you need something that kind of stands out that a lot of areas don't have. That folks kind of gravitate.
I mean,
towards.
I can't think of anywhere that has that that's not like a ski resort or just
I don't know. I
can't think of anything that's not like related to a theme park. So that would be really fun. But I also feel like it is a lot of maintenance and liability with that as well compared to just a bridge. So I could see government workers opting for the bridge, but we'll see what happens. Either way, I think it's going to be wonderful. Because even if they did a bridge, they could technically maybe do a little trolley or something on it, which I think would be really adorable. Yeah.
Yes. You got some folks who were for the monorail here.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Aerial tram sounds like it's lifted
Earl said
up.
A monorail would be interested. I mean, it would be cool, but that's not. I don't think of that.
Next time Disney updates their monorail, they should sell their old ones to Raleigh.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think like from a budget standpoint, and a bridge makes a lot more sense connecting Dix Park downtown Durham.
Like maintenance.
Yeah, the maintenance is practically non-existent. Whereas for an aerial tram, there's staffing, there's maintenance, like it's going to be a lot more involved in that. So yeah, I mean, it would need a significantly larger budget for the aerial tram. I'm assuming like over time.
I think the same budget. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know nothing about building aerial trams.
I just imagine that's really expensive.
But anyway, I thought this was really cool. I know.
Either way it would be so
I know
cool.
In the past we've covered it, but the aerial tram is not a dead idea in the Raleigh circles, and I think that's really exciting.
Figure out what that means.
Yeah.
Does it mean monorail?
Yeah, and Earl mentioned, and he's spot on. I heard that the Major League Baseball team might be in the works in the next few years. So, yes, that is true. I don't think there's like an official bid that the city of Raleigh has done, but my understanding is the Major League Baseball is looking to potentially expand into two more regions, and I think Raleigh could probably make a pretty strong pitch for that. And the supposed like front runner in helping push Raleigh towards this, I can't think of his name right now, but he's
the Canes owner.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The gentleman that owns the Hurricane. So he's already a sports owner here, and he would be part of that pitch. And I actually read an article the other day about places where it could go. And Dix Park was part of that.
That'd be very interesting to see if that happened, like putting it on public land, or would they sell off a portion of it? Or
I don't know how that would work.
Because that's kind of like
the
Green Bay Packers, right? Yeah. Isn't that like public?
It's publicly owned.
Owned, but maybe not government owned.
No. It's owned by the people.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
And
I would imagine being closer to PNC. Maybe.
Yeah, another one.
But it might be too busy.
Another suggestion was the PNC.
Because if you had a day where there was a football game at Carter Finley, a concert at PNC, and a Major League Baseball game, I don't know how you'd ever get.
Yeah, because the thought was that maybe North Carolina would be willing to sell off a portion of the fairgrounds to fit a Major League Baseball team onto there. So anyway, all that kind of tying in back to the Major League Baseball team point, and it's a possibility. I wouldn't put too much hope in it, but I mean I think Raleigh has a chance. I mean, we have the population to support it, and the next closest, I mean, what the Braves are down in Georgia. And I don't watch baseball, so I have no idea who's above us close to the north.
I don't think there's anything in. Well, maybe DC has a team.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, but I think
is it the Nationals?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't watch baseball, but I do watch football, and football kicks off tonight, so that is very exciting.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently at 8:20, Zach has let me know where he will be at 8:20.
Next Level, who also joined us, so thanks for tuning in. Next Level said would be cool for aerial tram like New York City has. I didn't know New York City had an
That's
aerial
cool.
tram.
Is that like at Central Park or something?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's cool.
But yeah, I think it'd be really cool too, and it adds that kind of like character piece that I feel like Raleigh is missing.
Yeah, that would be.
So
It would be really
yeah.
neat. Definitely.
All right.
And Hind asked about the 27604 zip code and what kind of development is coming. We will comment back after the show and let you know a little more detail about exactly what's happening in that exact zip code. I don't have any thoughts off the very, very tippy top of my head. But I think that's in Raleigh, maybe East Raleigh.
Yeah.
In general, I know there's kind of a lot going on that direction. So we'll comment back at you and let you know in a little bit.
Yeah. So speaking of developments, this kind of ties into what we've talked about in the past about Chatham County. So I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I was like, if there's this is just my thought. I could be totally wrong on this, but there's a part of the triangle that I think will look the most different in 20 to 30 years. It's going to be the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah,
I really do. I think that's going to be the area that like is just going to be unrecognizable in the next 20 to 30 years compared to what it is today.
For sure.
And
There's already a lot of change in the last 10.
Yeah, part of it is going to be neighborhoods like this. So this is 1,000-unit mixed-use development that's going in. So if you've ever been, I'll scroll here to the map because this kind of shows you where it is and zoom out a little bit here. So you got Highway 64 here. So if you head down, well, this connects into, this is the business section, but real Highway 64 connects you into Apex. So this is coming straight across Jordan Lake and then into the Pittsburgh area. And this is getting right by downtown. So this is like the downtown Pittsburgh area. This is going to be really close to downtown, this huge development.
That is close. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very close. I mean, it looks like it's probably going to be almost walking distance to a degree. Well, I don't know about walking distance, but it's going to be really close. So there's going to have apartments there. Looks like 120 will be reserved for affordable housing. And let me see, the housing portion will take up 112 acres. 73 of the acres are going to be donated to the town of Pittsburgh for a park. So that's really cool. I think that's really cool. Yeah. That's a pretty substantial amount. Because it's
a decent sized park.
I mean, this is a 209 acre mixed use development, and when 73 of those acres are donated to the town of Pittsburgh, that's pretty neat.
I like that bargaining for Pittsburgh. Good job to their city council. They're like, you can do it if you give us almost half.
Yeah,
for a park.
But yeah, so it looks like it's gonna be a mix of apartments, townhomes. Looks like some retail as well. But I mean, this is just another example of Pittsburgh really exploding.
Yeah, that area is huge. You've got Chatham Park is one of the big reasons why Pittsburgh, it's not the only reason, but one of the biggest neighborhoods. It's got to be one of the biggest in North Carolina, honestly.
Yeah.
Of like how many units are going to be in Chatham Park by the end. But that neighborhood kind of started things a long time ago when that development started, and it's not even halfway done yet in Chatham Park. And so now we've got more and more neighborhoods coming up like it. And then you also have a large like luxury custom, 1 to 2 acre neighborhood feel, obviously different than this in Pittsburgh too. So I feel like a lot of what's going in is really nice. So it'll be interesting to see what affordability looks like with this new neighborhood. But
I'm sure it'll be, I mean, it's townhomes.
Yeah,
so
I think it'll be more affordable. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be more
limit.
affordable because some stuff is a little pricey out there.
Yeah. Another big development is being proposed in Garner. Garner's another area. I know like we don't talk a ton about Garner, but Garner is seeing substantial growth. Like if you're looking for new construction, close proximity to the Raleigh area, or downtown Raleigh, I should say,
or the home of Scotty McCreery.
It's true.
That's their claim to fame.
It is.
You can't not acknowledge Scotty.
Yeah. but I mean Garner is a great choice for that. And this is going to be another massive development. 1,000 housing units are being proposed. 630 apartments, 35,000 square feet of commercial space. This one I'm somewhat confused by. 350 single family attached homes.
Yeah, it's weird to see the word single family and attached, but I guess what they mean by that is that it's not an apartment.
Well, so there is like the semi detached housing
it's like
style
a storage shed that attaches
where it's
it.
like it's like two houses
like
make
a
unit.
duplex. Yeah.
Well, it's called like semi detached. It's basically like it's like a townhome, but both are end units.
Yeah.
And
in theory, that's just a duplex.
Yeah. But I think
they just don't call it that anymore.
But I don't know if that's what they're referring to here when it says single family attached. That's how I read it. That'll be kind of like that semi-detached style with two homes connected by one wall. So not like a row of townhomes. But regardless, have 350 of them. And it's in a really good location. So you kind of look at like where it is. You've got your White Oak Shopping Center down here, which is a really nice shopping center.
There's a lot in that shopping center.
Yeah.
It's huge. It kind of reminds me of Briar Creek a little bit.
Yeah. So, this is, Garner is continuing to add new neighborhoods, new commercial space. That's an area. Honestly, that's an area we probably don't talk about enough, to be honest with you.
That's very true.
So,
that's very true. Next Level said, when are they accepting the applications and the starting price? I got to get my son out of here. This is only being proposed so far, so we might have a little while.
Yeah. For the Garner one, it might be.
We can help you get him out a little sooner. Yeah. We might can find you somewhere else a little sooner.
Yeah. I love it. Perfect. Well, that's all that I've got for tonight. You got anything to add?
No, I don't.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate y'all tuning in this week. If you are a football fan, I hope you enjoy. I'm not a Chiefs fan or a Ravens fan, but I will be watching the game because I'm just very excited the football is back.
He's excited to watch Taylor Swift tonight.
No, it's not that.
I'm kidding.
I am excited though for football, and Sunday the Panthers play, and
he is ashamedly. I think it's more embarrassing that you're to be a Panthers fan than to watch the Kansas City Chiefs because you like Taylor Swift.
We're gonna be better this year. We'll be better.
Yeah,
so,
I've heard that a few years. My entire existence of knowing you, but we're gonna be better this year.
We will be. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.